Welcome to the Magnet Pool, where we dive into Miami-Dade's most innovative and exciting magnet programs that truly make Miami-Dade County Public Schools your best choice in education. I'm Jacqueline Basayo, Executive Director with the Office of Innovation and Advancement, and today we're spotlighting a middle school that is redefining what it means to prepare students for the future. Miami Lakes Middle School is home to a Legal Studies Cambridge International Magnet Program, providing a powerful pathway that immerses students in real-world learning, global thinking, and hands-on experiences that go far beyond the traditional classroom. Joining me today is Principal Maria Medina of Miami Lakes Middle School. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and representing Miami Lakes Middle School.
Absolutely. Let's get started by grounding our listeners in what makes Miami Lakes Middle School such a unique place to learn. You know, Miami Lakes Middle is what we call a traditional boundary school, but really it's so much more because you are offering students so much more. You're offering them a campus where students are exposed to advanced academics, you know, real world learning, future focused pathways in the middle school, which to me is just so incredible to even imagine. So for families who may not be familiar with your school, first time hearing about Miami Lakes Middle, how would you describe your school and what is it known for within our district?
So again, thank you for allowing me to be here and represent my staff and my students here. Miami Lakes Middle is a special place. Number one, we have incredible teachers. Just yesterday, we were having our testing meeting, and all I could do is say thank you to that staff. They go to work. There are days where we have 100% attendance in the faculty. They care for their kids. They care for our students, for our community. And so I think that's probably what makes it more special than anything. When students come in, they feel that they do have a place not only to learn, but to grow, to be able to be heard. We take our mental health very, it's very important to us because a lot of our students are so projected and so into their academics that sometimes that does become very pressure oriented at such a young age. And so we give them that opportunity, as you said, of not only being a legal and a Cambridge, but we have sports, we have activities, we have a phenomenal drama program, we have a phenomenal band. They just came back from competition with superiors. And so our kids are really involved not only in studies, but in other activities that create those connections of not just individual, but group and how to work together and how to collaborate together.
For sure. And I think, you know, bringing in all those activities that you get at a traditional middle school, like the sports or the band or the drama.
Correct.
So yes, you do have these rigorous academics, these advanced academics, but you're also offering them an opportunity to be a middle schooler.
And an outlet.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like in a time that I always think middle school is such a weird transition for kids, right? You know, they're growing, there's so much going on with them in their bodies. And so to have this community, right, in a school like your school. I know when I'm looking at schools, part of what I always look at is the staff, and I'm always looking at how long staff has been there, because to me that's such a huge indicator. If the staff wants to be there, guess what? We're probably going to want to be there as a family and the students 100%. As well. And I think that speaks so much to kind of the program that you could provide if your staff is buying into it and excited to be there, which obviously you do have at Miami Lakes.
We do. Thankfully, we do.
And so I know we're going to get a little bit into our magnet program specifically a little bit later, but you do offer both Cambridge and legal studies. And what does that mean for a student to have access to that at a middle school level? I know when families are starting to, you know, shop around and look at different schools, I think it's important for them to understand, yes, it is a middle school, they're going to sixth grade, but here they're getting so much more. So why, or what does it mean for your students to be able to have access to that kind of programming at the middle school, beginning in sixth grade?
So let's start discussing the legal studies program, which is led by Lisa Diarza, who is a legend there. She's been there 30 years, and she has created a program, not only classroom, but also really participating and being part of the community. So we have a very big partnership with the town of Miami Lakes. We have worked with them on projects. Our school, through the leadership of Moritz Acosta,
Yes, that we're gonna talk about.
and some other, Samantha Rodriguez, during that was 3 or 4 years ago, they actually met up with the town commissioners, with the mayor, and had an ordinance approved, and it's in the books.
Wow.
On how to better assist with flooding in the community. So the kids decided, they went and they asked, they surveyed, and one of the concerns that was happening in the community was the fact that when it rains, everything floods.
Yeah.
And so they did the research. And when we say research, I mean they spoke to Durham. They went out and really focused on, okay, what are some solutions that we can bring to the table, and what are some things that in the ordinance, when people are updating their driveways or when they're working on their garden, what are some things that the community could do to avoid some of this street flooding. And so they brought it to the table. It was voted on, and it's an ordinance. As I said, it's in the books. So, when they go and they are in the legal studies program, they actually are civically involved in the community.
Yeah.
And how important is it for a youngster
Absolutely.
to be able to know that they have been part of, and that's the voice that we talk about. You find a problem, and like I always say to them, okay, you know what the problem is. Now let's have a solution.
Right.
You can't just bring a problem and say, oh, there's this. Okay, now that we know, what are we bringing to the table to find that solution?
Right. And that's so important, whether or not they want to pursue a career in law or legal studies later on, right? Just having that exposure, being able to find their voice, like their voice matters, being involved civically. I think Miami Lakes has a great little community, so it's only wonderful that you can be part of that and really contribute to that. But definitely, I mean, I know when I go, with my, I'm at work, whenever I have a problem, my first thing is I need to come and present solutions to my boss. I can't just come and show her the problem. Like, I need to figure out how we can solve it and then let her maybe make the ultimate decision.
Right.
And so to be learning that so early on, I feel like definitely has to impact that middle school trajectory, which, sometimes, like I said, could be a little bit awkward for certain students, but definitely it probably gives them, I don't even know what to call it.
Well, a sense of belonging.
Exactly.
A sense of belonging that, they're not just there going through the motions. We do. We want to listen, and we want to know what you have to say. And, it's that leadership quality that
Absolutely.
you want to bring to the table, and you want them to blossom and say, oh, we feel that we make a difference.
Yeah, because they do.
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
And so, students in your legal studies magnet are not just taking legal studies, they are also immersed in the Cambridge curriculum.
That is
And
correct.
so that's important for families to understand that they're not selecting one or the other, they're getting both
Correct.
at Miami Lakes. And so for families who may not be familiar with Cambridge in general, if we can talk a little bit about what is it, what are the core skills and mindsets that it helps students develop, and then I guess, how does it tie into what they're doing with legal studies, which we kind of talked about, but just kind of bringing all that together?
Right. Well, the top priority of the Cambridge program is the global perspective of the program. It's not just academic, although it is very highly, it's very strong and highly competitive, but it also focuses on global issues and how those issues are going to be taken care of. Right. So again, it's not only legally how things operate, but globally, that connection of, okay, so let's say we have a concern with the environment. So as a teenager, right, what can I do to better serve my community and the environment. It could be recycling, it could be water conservation. And so when we have the students in the 6th grade in the global perspective class, they again come and bring issues, concerns, but they're finding solutions differently, not necessarily on the civic side,
Right.
but more on the social side. Speaking together, how are they going to conserve water? What are
Right.
some of the areas, some of the suggestions on conserving water? And so you're almost seeing the same thing happening, but in two different spectrums.
Right.
One is very civically involved with the law, with certain ordinances, where here you're looking at the social way of resolving
Issues.
that issue.
Right, which is so important, and so important to kind of drive that home so early on in their lives, right? So young, so that when they do become full adults, right, they have, they develop empathy and they understand problems and how to work together to solve them.
100%. Yeah.
And so with the legal studies program, do students have opportunities to work alongside judges and attorneys and things of that more legal realm? Are they doing that?
They do. And when they start to prepare for mock trial, we have attorneys come in and they work with the students. We have a courtroom with the judge's seat, and the kids will have roles, the judge, the witness, the plaintiff. We have the section where the kids sit as jurors.
Wow.
And the week before, I was doing a walkthrough, and they had just completed a competition, and the kids were actually sitting in the group debriefing on, well, what could you have done better to, answer this question as the witness? Because it doesn't end at competition. It continues because, as you know, we transition students to either Hialeah Miami Lakes, who also has a very strong legal program. And so those students that are interested in continuing that pathway go there and then, really have that opportunity to increase their knowledge of
For sure.
legal studies. So, we want the students not just to go to competition and say, okay, well, we finished. Or no, what is going to make us better at our particular job at that particular point, right? As a judge, well, what could you have done a little differently to maybe express, right, judgment differently?
Right, right. And how do you feel that these real world interactions impact, I guess, the student confidence that you see in them, and just like their interest in future careers? Because I can imagine it is very different to experience it by reading about law in a book and then now practicing it, essentially.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Moritz. He is really interested in the area of politics, and he is studying that with the possibility of going to law school. And he speaks about really developing a sense of, what can he do to better his community, whether it's in Boston where he is right now, or whether he comes back to, Miami. I have a student who is an 8th grader right now, Gian Morales, who has this whole presentation on bullying. He was, in his previous school before coming to ours, had some issues, and he developed this love for being able to be socially involved in protecting children, young adults. And so that's his goal. And he's made it a purpose to go through the legal studies, understanding and being an advocate for students that maybe are having that kind of difficulty. So, it's opened their minds and their avenues for that ability to say, okay, I've learned all this. well, I have something that I can provide
Yeah.
and to actually become an advocate. He actually even wants to start a nonprofit organization. So think about you have a student that's 13,
Yeah.
8th grader, and already has that mentality.
Yeah. But I think that's what that
Yeah.
program fosters, right?
Yes,
because
right.
now every middle school, you're going to get what's required by law, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get your math, your English, your social studies, your science. But you guys are giving them something at a completely different level. And so families that are looking for middle school options, I mean, you're creating these global changers, right? Okay, so I want to go back to Moritz, because obviously Moritz is very popular around our town
Yes.
and in Miami-Dade County Public Schools. But for viewers and listeners to understand who he is, because he's obviously created an impact here in our community. He was your former student of yours. So if you can just tell us a little bit about his journey and his story, and kind of, you talked about what his ambition is, but where is he now? I know you mentioned Harvard, but I think it's important to kind of give, the full context.
Right. So Moritz is bigger than life, right? Special young man. And he is a native of Hungary, came to this country about 6-7 years old, and was always interested in bettering community, himself. His family brought him here with an understanding that he would be successful. A Cuban family that ended up in Hungary. Anyway, so the first day he walked in, it was boom, that kind of
Culture shock.
but he assimilated, and he just started working with Mr. Yarza, and he was so special and did so much for our school that we came up with the Moritz Acosta Award that we give every year to a student that has the qualities that are Moritz
Right,
qualities.
right.
So what are they? He has personality. He has leadership. He, I used to tell him, Moritz, you can sell anything to anyone. He just has that personality. He's so helpful. Whatever you need, you can count on him.
Absolutely.
So he started a civics bowl while he was at Miami, at Hialeah, Miami Lakes. He, the civics bowl is in conjunction with Miami-Dade College. And we had the competition, and it is middle schools, and they all go to Miami-Dade College, and they all compete, and he came up with the whole concept. He was in Harvard. He took a plane, he came to the school.
Wow.
He goes, Medina, I'm here 24 hours. I needed to be here. I wanted to see, because tomorrow I'm leaving. I have to go here. He's going to India. And I was just like, you're overwhelming me.
Yes.
And he goes, okay, but I just wanted to come and see you and see you. And he did. He came.
Amazing.
He was there for his civics bowl. He got on a plane, left to Harvard, back to Harvard, because he had a commitment there. And that type of student, that type of person that you can really count on. You call him and he'll answer, how can I help you? What can I do for you? What do you need? And he's just bigger than life,
he is.
And we always joke, he's not born here. We always say, okay, so we're gonna have to do some constitutional amendments
To make
so
him a
that you can
president.
be the president,
For
because
sure.
he's just that type of, his family, just a great kid.
Yeah, for sure.
Young man now.
Yeah.
And so very high hopes for him. And again, I mean, we all talk about him, and even some of the students that had the opportunity to meet him and work with him want to follow in his footsteps.
Absolutely.
Because there's just so much that he, and just a good mentor, a mentor.
Yeah, I know I've met him a couple times. And so after he left your school, he went on to Hialeah Miami Lakes Senior High School that also offers magnet programming. And his senior year, he served as the advisor for a school board. So here you have a high school student serving on a board with elected public officials. Like,
Yes.
incredible. And that obviously has to be a testament to your program and the foundation that he received there, that he felt confident enough to say, this is what I want to do. I found my voice here. Look at all I've accomplished, and I'm going to keep going.
Right.
And so now him being at Harvard, and again, I want to say a testament to your program and the community that you have, that he's willing to fly down for 24 hours to support
We
the
were
civic
so
goal.
happy to see him. We were like, what are you
Oh my
doing?
gosh,
Yeah,
that's
but it
so
was
exciting.
just cool. Yeah. It was just cool to see, his passion for, what he's doing and his belief system
Absolutely.
that he has.
And I'm sure, like him, you have many students that have created
we
that
do.
impact and continue in that trajectory, whether it's through that legal studies or Cambridge. And I want to touch before we finish on that Cambridge program, because you are setting a foundation for students that want to continue in Cambridge at that middle school level, right? Introducing them to that philosophy, that way of learning. What does it mean for families or students that continue Cambridge into high school? Like, what's the benefit for them continuing that after
Well,
that?
the benefit for them is that if they finish Cambridge, they are eligible for Bright Future and free college.
Yep, 100%.
100% paid.
Without needing SAT and ACT scores. Granted, you need that to get into college,
Right.
but as far as getting the 100% Bright Futures, the cutoff for the SAT scores are not looked at so long as you have that
Correct.
Cambridge.
Correct, as long as you have the Cambridge. And there are many students that opt for that, obviously, but it is to go to a state college. And the parents are able to, I mean, if you maintain your grades in college and all that, you just got a bachelor's free.
For sure.
And
Right.
It's nice to. One of the things that we're also trying to do is to give those students that opportunity through, you kind of briefly touched on, are the higher academics. As a
Yes.
school, we now offer chemistry
Amazing.
with an actual teacher. There are some middle schools that do it, but they do it either through Florida Virtual.
Right.
But we are very fortunate to have an actual teacher certified in chemistry.
Wow. And to clarify, chemistry is a 10th grade
11th grade.
11th grade
Yes,
class.
yes.
So here you have kids in middle school, again, receiving advanced academics. And I know, and I was just on the phone with a parent recently who is the student's about to start high school. And she's like, you don't understand. We made every choice from our middle school depending on where I knew I wanted to go. And I
Right.
think that's important to clarify, because if families already have their mindset on that that high school they want to go to, there's certain requirements that a lot of these schools
Correct.
require. And so it is so important when they're making that choice for middle school
Right.
to ensure that the middle school is going to provide what they need for high school. And you guys are offering that there.
Right. And we also offer Algebra 2 with an actual teacher. Again, doing the instruction. And many of those students, it's interesting because they go to Miami Lakes Middle, as you brought up, already with, okay, so what high school are we going to be going to?
Right.
And some of them accelerate over the summer so that they can pick up these extra courses and be able to get to, let's say, like a Miami Lakes Tech.
Right.
And be able to do dual enrollment, do college with Miami-Dade. Some of these kids are graduating
Oh, yeah.
high school with college with an AA.
Yeah. And it's like so much cost savings for families, right?
For families, absolutely.
Even when we're talking about our thematic programs like legal studies and magnet, like maybe a child is very articulate and the family's like, oh, this guy's going to be a lawyer. Or they know, you know what, that's exactly what I want to do. They take this and they're exploring that interest. And,
Right.
if that's the track they want to go on eventually, they're getting a head start.
Right.
And if then they decide that they don't want it anymore, now they've saved some time and money because they didn't have to wait till college to figure that out. They're figuring it out with you.
100%. And you're absolutely right, because sometimes the kids will come in and say, you know what, I tried the legal studies. It's really not what I thought it was going to be, or I found that maybe I don't have that interest in the legal areas. They'll continue down the Cambridge road,
Right.
and they'll get to high school and realize, hey, you know what? I'm glad that I switched, because now I have that option of maybe trying to see another area that, and like you said, you don't spend all those years in college trying to
Figuring
figure
it out.
out, what am I
Yes.
going to study? Because, you
already
have
have
those
it.
opportunities, right?
So, I mean, an incredible school, incredible programs, not only preparing them for either the Cambridge path or legal. I think they're learning so many skills that they can generalize across, right? Public speaking, finding their voice,
Yes.
having an opinion and how to defend that in a way that's appropriate, right?
Right.
So I think it's so incredible. And I think we've probably sold families on Miami Lakes Middle
I
School.
hope so. I hope
But we
so.
always end with the same question. And so I'm going to ask you, because every program has that special spark that draws students and families in. So what would you say is your magnet pull? What makes your programs and Miami Lakes Middle School the best choice for students and families in Miami-Dade?
Miami Lakes Middle School is special, and our pull is the fact that we have a traditional middle school that is highly academic. Our goal, our vision is really to ensure that students have the highest quality of education, of experience, so that when they leave our doors, they're ready for high school. They're ready to make certain choices academically, civically, personally, that will make them successful citizen and community members. When we speak to our students, it's about, this isn't just middle school, this is training. This is training ground for your future. And what you learn here is going to open doors or close doors, right, to your future. So we're very, very happy so far with the results that we get and the students that come back to us. And before we end, a small little, you can follow us at MLMS Warriors on Instagram. We have a segment there called Warriors for Life. And you can go on and see how some of our students come back to give to our school. They feel that they took. Now it's time for them to give. And we appreciate every alumni that comes back to our school.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, a testament to your program and the community that you've built at Miami Lakes Middle. So
thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely.
And
it was a pleasure.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah.
And a big thank you to our listeners and viewers, as well as Miami's Community News, for their partnership in bringing the stories of our schools to the community through this platform. To our families listening, remember that Miami-Dade County Public Schools offers hundreds of magnet programs across the district, giving students the opportunity to explore their passions and their interests. And right now, families can still apply through our Open Seats Magnet application. Families can learn more by visiting us at miamimagnets.org. Families can also stay connected with us on social media at Miami Magnets. That's it for this episode of The Magnet Pull. Keep being drawn to what inspires you, and we'll see you next time.